Yogi Ramsuratkumar, Jai Guru Raya. So, by pure grace of Bhagwan Shri Yogi Ramsuratkumar, we were able to witness the puja to Sri Krishna Paramatma and Radha and to Bhagwan. There is no time for continuing the Namajapa, but we can go through one or two experiences of the devotees which I narrated in the morning, which I would translate now to the English-speaking public. We all know that every experience with Bhagwan is pure joy. And today, whatever I am going to describe has some special implication, which we shall see at the end. A couple by name Mrs. Vijaya and Mr. Ranganathan, two Ramana devotees. They have been going from place to place on transfer for Sri Ranganathan. And so they had decided after his retirement they would settle down in Ramana Nagar, Tiruvannamalai, near Ashram. They would buy a land and build a house and live there because it's a holy place. Tiruvannamalai is a holy place. Here, the mountain itself is considered and worshipped as Lord Shiva, and the whole of Tiruvannamalai is sanctum sanctorum of Lord Shiva. So as they were considering this, in 1990, they went to Ananda Ashram. There was constant coming and going between the two ashrams, Ananda Ashram and Ramana Ashram. And these people went to Ananda Ashram, stayed there, participated in Ram Nama, chanting very happily. And they stayed for 45 days, chanting and rejoicing in it. Swami Satchidananda, Pujya Swami Satchidananda, was watching them, how happily, how joyfully they were chanting the name, completely absorbed in that. So after 45 days, he took them out and then he pointed to a land in front of Ananda Ashram and said, "You people are so happy staying in the ashram, chanting the name, participating in all the activities. We will give you this land, you can build a house here and stay the rest of your life here." When he suggested, they were overjoyed. They decided even this was okay because they enjoyed themselves hugely there. They stayed. So they said happily to Pujya Swami Satchidananda, "Yes, Swamiji, we shall stay here." And then 3 or 4 days after, when they were still staying there, they got a letter from a Telugu friend of the family. And this friend had stated in the letter, since they had been wanting to stay near Ramanashram in Tiruvannamalai, 2 lands were available at a cheaper rate, and if they wanted to buy it, they must come immediately and settle it. And the place is also near Ramanashram as they wanted. Now, once again, this was tempting to them because this is what they had wanted all along. So they immediately rushed to Swami Satchidananda, showed the letter and said, "Swami, we've got a letter, now we do not know what to do." And then Pujya Swami Satchidananda smiled happily and said, "Go ahead, This is Anandashram, is Leela Bhumi, but Tiruvannamalai is Jnana Bhumi, meaning Anandashram is land of Leelas, whereas Tiruvannamalai is the land of Jnana, land of supreme knowledge. And what is more, it is Papa's place, meaning Sri Ramana Maharishi's place. So you can go and settle down happily. He blessed them nicely and happily. So immediately they rushed to Tiruvannamalai. They bought 2 lands. Those places are very near our ashram now, just outside the gate, the second gate, which we do not use. It's actually the second house from the gate. It's so near. But after buying this land, on some occasion, in 1991, they went to Madurai to visit a friend's place. When they were there, the friend of Sri Ranganathan, from his office, an attendant, a peon by name Thangavelu, had come there. And those people treated him with respect, though even though he was only a peon, an attender, he was not treated like that. Ranganathan's friend and people treated him with respect. This Thangavelu also talked to this couple, and then they said that they had bought a land near Ramana Ashram, that it's a very lonely spot. And so they had their own misgivings. This Thangavelu left without saying anything. Thangavelu was worshipping Lord Muruga very deeply. So he was highly intuitive. But the next day afternoon he turned up again, and this time he told the couple, "You have bought the land, it's nice, keep it that way. And this land which you have bought is near a temple of Sri Rama. He also added, "When I sat in dhyana of Lord Muruga, in my deep dhyana, Lord Muruga gave me this news, that there is Rama's temple near the land that you have bought. And what is more, I saw a tree in that land under which was seated an old man, a divine man, a divine being with beard, white beard, and a green turban, and the dhoti in traditional style. He is none other than Sri Rama himself. And that is Rama's temple. So stay put. Don't feel bad about having bought this land." Now they were thrown into greater confusion because this happened in 1991 in Madurai. The thought for buying the ashram, the permission for buying an ashram came only in 1993, January 1st, when Sri Janardhanan was there, the Sannadhi Street house. I also happened to be there that particular day. And Swami gave Sri Janardhanan permission for the ashram the first time. And then Swami went around. Only in May he found this Agrahara Kollai. It appealed to him, and then he said yes for buying this land. So this land was chosen only in May 1993. But in 1991, Thangavelu, the devotee of Lord Muruga, spoke to this couple, Vijaya and Ranganathan, that there is a Rama's temple near their place. And he saw Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan seated under a tree with a green turban and a beard and a traditional style dhoti. Just see how things develop. Now these people from Madurai in 91, after Thangavelu told them that, they went to Chennai and stayed there for some time. And that is when, in 93, through a newspaper, a Tamil newspaper, they came to know that Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan had bought a land in Agrahara Kollai, the place where they had also bought the land. It was news to them, but then they remembered Thangavelu saying something like that. And then they came, they stayed with some relatives in Ramana Nagar. They started to build their house. In 94, the ashram was also being built, and Bhagwan was coming both in the morning and in the evening to give darshan. And Bhagwan would also sit here and there smoking and supervise the construction in his own way. So we were coming from Sudama. Bhagwan, myself and Srimati Prabha, we were coming every day for morning and evening darshan. Now these people started their constructions. They wanted a well. They wanted to dig a well. And then they set about that. But they found, after some feet, some 20-25 feet, they came across only rocks. You see, the whole place, Agrahara Kollai, is only an extension of the mountain Arunachala, and therefore it's the rocky bed. It's rocks everywhere. In fact, when Bhagwan landed here in Agrahara Kollai the first time, after he agreed to buy this land, there was absolutely no green vegetation anywhere. With the exception of one tall palm tree, there was nothing else. Only some wild bushes and rocks and rocks and rocks everywhere. So these people found it very difficult to dig the well after 25 feet. Again they went a little ahead, a little deeper, and there was only rocks. And again a little deeper and only the rock powder. So they were very upset and frustrated. And in fact they were using these explosives. And that is how they went deeper, because they could not have dug that being rock, so they had to use explosives. So this explosive sound was heard repeatedly in the ashram. Bhagwan, Yogi Ramsuratkumar, after hearing this noise, he went out to that place. At that time, only the second gate was open. Only that was being operated. So Bhagwan went out and asked Mr. Ranganathan what was happening there, why this explosive sound. See, there is nothing he did not know. He knew everything, whatever was happening around. I had seen it myself. In fact, he visited many places around. And there are very interesting stories about that. But then that's not a part of our theme now. So Bhagwan asked Mr. Ranganathan what was happening. And Mr. Ranganathan reported that they were digging deeper and deeper with explosives, but then there was no sign of water. It was all only rocks and rocks. Oh, all right. This beggar will see, will have a look at it. And then he went there and he peeped. He peeped in. And then very casually, he left the place without saying anything to Ranganathan or Vijaya. He just had a look at it and then walked away. But the next day morning, there was water and water and water, a natural spring of water, and so much water. They could not believe that this was happening. They were thinking that they had to use further explosives and go deeper, and they had no idea how long they should do that. But here was water gushing forth like a spring, filling up. And then they understood what Thangavelu meant. Sri Rama's temple, that he saw an old man, because the minute, what happened in between when they were staying with the relatives, one day they had gone to Arunachaleshwara Mandir, and that was the day, a day specially meant for Lord Muruga. It was Sashti, the sixth day, and so they had gone there, and there is one Kambatte Elena, there is one shrine for Lord Muruga there in Arunachaleshwara Mandir. So these people were going round, they were doing pradakshina, and when they were doing, they saw Yogi Ramsuratkumar Bhagwan seated near the 1,000-pillared mandap. And they also saw so many people rushing and prostrating before him. So immediately they also joined. That was the first time they saw him. And then they remembered what Thangavelu said, the green turban, the white beard, and the traditional dhoti. But then, when this happened, when they were digging the well, and then Bhagwan came near and very casually had a look at it, and then went back without saying anything, and the next day the gushing forth of water, now they have understood deeply who Yogi Ramsuratkumar is. So after that they began to come regularly to the ashram. Whenever they could, they would come and prostrate before Bhagwan and receive blessings. When in 2009, when Vijaya Ranganathan had narrated all this, we were all stunned that 93 May, Bhagwan looked for this place and fixed it, but in 91, when these people had gone to Madurai, a Muruga Bhakta predicted, not only predicted, he saw Rama's temple here, and he saw Bhagwan seated there in the land under a tree. Mrs. Vijaya Ranganathan, with folded hands, with tears in her eyes, said, now that Bhagwan is Rameshwara Linga, we hear Ram Nam here, and we have met, we have had darshan of Bhagwan Sri Rama. She also said, after this incident of the well, in 96 only they could complete building the house, and they had held this ceremony for entering the house. It was December 2nd that they had arranged for the function, but one day previously, that is December 1st, when Bhagwan was going from the ashram, he stopped nearby. So we also rushed behind him. And then Bhagwan went into their house straight away. They stood there overwhelmed with tears in their eyes, unfolded hands. And Bhagwan walked into every room. He blessed every room of the house, and again he blessed that couple also. My father blesses both of you. My father blesses Vijaya and Ranganathan. So after blessing them nicely, he came out, and then we went back. So they were very grateful. They said, after Bhagwan's blessings, they've been living there very happily. And she said, We are very happy there's Sri Rama's temple near our house, and we could have darshan of Sri Rama till 2001, till he took Samadhi. And now we come and see Rameshwara Linga. So, what a strange story. So what does it show? That everything is predestined. I remember somewhere I read, it was Yoga Swami's Mahavakyas. He says, it is all over already. It's all over already. The work is over already. That is one of the Mahavakyas. We call it Mahavakya, means the great utterances. One of the great utterances of the master is called Yoga Swami, which means everything is preordained. Our life story is already over. It's only a reenactment. Our life, everybody's life, is already a finished movie, and now the movie is running on the screen. Whatever is meant to happen will happen no matter what. Whatever is not meant to happen will not happen no matter what. This is what Sri Raman Maharishi said. When Sri Ganeshana of Ramanashram, once when he was with Bhagwan Yogi Ramsuratkumar, a lady had come seeking Bhagwan's grace for her son's marriage, I think. And then Bhagwan blessed her, saying, on February 7th, your daughter, it's a daughter's marriage, your daughter will get married on February 7th. Very strangely he mentioned the date, because Bhagwan would never do that ordinarily. But in front of Ganeshana, he said that, and true to his word, she had nothing in possession at that time, no money, nothing. Nothing was fixed also, but within 2 or 3 months everything was arranged, and the marriage did take place on the date mentioned by Bhagwan. So when she came back to report it, that the marriage took place, she happily reported, and Ganeshana happened to be there on that day also with Bhagwan. Immediately he put the question to our Swami. He said, Swami, when you said that her marriage, daughter's marriage would take place on February 7th, were you blessing her, were you willing it to happen, or you knew it was going to happen and that you were merely predicting it? Bhagwan would never answer such questions. But Ganeshana was very lucky that day. Bhagwan just hinted at it. He said, Ganesha, have you read Shakespeare's Othello? Yes, Swami, but I remember very vaguely. Do you know in which chapter Othello dies? He said, no, Swami, I don't remember. Though I read it, I don't remember. It was only ancillary subject for me. Then Bhagwan said, this beggar has read that, this beggar knows in which chapter Othello dies. That's all, Ganesha. No more. And then he changed the topic. He closed it. So what does it mean? That Bhagwan knows already, because it's all predestined, and so he would know. I have seen it time after time. When a devotee came to Bhagwan, he would be like an object in a glass case. Bhagwan knew his past, present and future. Why? Because it was already destined. So everything about our life is predetermined. Now, if that is so, why should we try anything at all? Whatever is meant to happen will happen. Why should we keep trying? Why should we do tapas? Why should we chant the name? Why should we offer our activities at the feet of Bhagwan? Everything will happen only as per the blueprint with which we were born. But there is this element of grace. See, when we suffer, like we are suffering, the whole world is suffering today, whenever we have a suffering, a great suffering that we go through, there is this element of grace. You see, we have ego, and the ego is very active. The ego cannot keep quiet. You have to keep on saying something, doing something. You know how it is, the raising of thoughts in the mind, and our blabbering all the time, and then always doing something or the other. So we cannot help thinking, talking and doing because of this active ego. And because this ego is there, which is very active, we also have to make self-effort. Because the ego self is there, ego self-effort is necessary. And the element of grace, when you are unable to bear a certain suffering, you just call out the name of God and you beg and beg and beg for grace. Then the grace can intervene and mitigate the suffering, or if your love is so much, if your devotion is deep, the grace can remove the suffering altogether. So that choice is there. So we have to go on making effort. We have to go on remembering the name, chanting the name. We have to go on praying, praying, praying. But if you, Bhagwan has said, if you keep on chanting, 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 if you are able to feel His presence, then there is no need to pray separately. The Nama will do everything for you. The Nama will run your life, will do the needful in every circumstance. So, even though our life is predestined, everything happens according to the past karmas, the good karmas and the bad karmas. The whole life is designed according to that, and the law of karma is relentless. There is still the element of grace, there is still the compassion of God, ready to come to our rescue at the mere beckoning. See, when the life is already a finished movie and it's running on the screen, suppose you do not like a particular dialogue of the hero or the heroine or the villain. You cannot just point out and say, hey, stop it. This doesn't become you at all. Don't do this. You think the movie would stop to listen to you? But if you take the trouble to tell the director, to find the director and tell him this particular scene is out of turn, it doesn't suit the rest of the movie, why don't you do something about it? Then the director may choose to change it, may remove it altogether, or may just keep it as it is. It's left to him. So like that, if you do not like something that's going on in your life, according to your fate, according to your past karmas, and you suffer so much that you want relief, then seek the help of God. You tell the director of the universe, appeal to His boundless compassion. His grace is ready to come and help you. It's waiting for you to call out. So, in today's situation, let us offer our prayers. We have been singing Bhagwan's Nama twice a day, all of us sitting together. I mean, Bhagwan had assured us many times, not a single Nama goes waste, not a single prayer goes waste. So it must be working. You see, we saw in the story, in 91 itself it was predicted, but it took so long for Bhagwan to give permission and for the practical steps to buy the land and to build the ashram. You know how long it took, how many details had to be worked out meticulously. Even in this Maya world, to achieve something worldly, there is a process, there is a procedure, and we have to go about it meticulously to achieve this result. So it shows that we have to make effort. So let us offer our prayers at the feet of Bhagwan. And Bhagwan today, Krishna Jayanti, Puja, we all witnessed. For us, Bhagwan had said many times, I am Rama, I am Krishna. I alone exist. I am the cosmic controller. I alone exist. So it is Yogi Ramsuratkumar Krishna that we all worshipped to our heart's content, heart's fulfillment. And we shall now, he must be very happy with the puja that we offered. He must be very happy with the Nama Sankirtan that we did and all the arrangements that we have been making from afternoon. So now, this is the time to appeal to him. Bhagwan,